Like meeting all of these teams because they love what they do. This is their life. It's possible for me to forget everything I was going to say. Chip and Joanna Gaines have long been portrayed as the ideal American family. They dealt with a private problem behind the scenes, though, that led to a moment that no parent ever wants to have to face. When they heard about their fifth son, the news quickly turned from happiness to intense public worry. Fans saw clues that pointed to a scary diagnosis, which led to a huge medical puzzle. This is the story of the small fights and big choices that made a huge difference in the world. Come with us as we find out what's really going on behind the news. Cheerleading can hurt your back. Many people know Joanna Gaines for her amazing design skills, but she used to be a cheerleader in Texas when she was in high school. Cheerleading was going through a big change in the 1990s. It was no longer just easy pom-pom routines, it was turning into a very competitive sport. In order to stand out, squads did difficult stunts that needed a lot of strength and accuracy. Joanna was in the middle of this busy place, but she had no idea that one moment during a routine would affect her back health for the next 30 years. The move she did that hurt her is called a basket toss. One of the most dangerous cheering moves is this one. In basket toss, the base is made up of 3 or 4 dancers whose hands are interlocked to make a platform. It was Joanna's job to be the flyer. She gets on this platform and is thrown high into the air. When the flyer gets to the top of the jump, they need to do a trick and then be caught by their friends below. But during one performance, the stunt's mechanics stopped working. When Joanna was thrown into the air, the catch wasn't made at the right time or in the right place. Joanne didn't land softly and safely in the arms of her friends, she fell. The fall was very bad because of how it worked. She was falling from a very high place, so her body gained a lot of speed and force. That force wasn't spread out when she hit the ground. This pain was mainly in her lumbar spine, which is in the lower back. Most of your weight is supported by this part of your body, which also lets you turn and twist. Right away, the blow hurt the discs and the rubbery cushions that sit between the spine's bones. It was at that time that Joanna did what a lot of young athletes do. She tried to get through it. People who play competitive games often believe that if you don't hurt yourself, you won't gain. She probably thought the pain would go away on its own and that her body would heal itself in time. This early stage of management was really a stage of denial. Even though she kept moving, the pain wouldn't go away. Instead, it was slowly changing from an acute injury, something that happened quickly, to a disease that gets worse over time. When someone has a degenerative disease, their spine starts to break down over time. Because she didn't get enough rest or medical help after the first injury, the discs in her lower back started to get weaker. The hurt area felt stress every time she moved something heavy, stood for long periods of time, or even just walked. She kept the pain to herself for years while building a job and a family. While her spine was slowly breaking down to the point where surgery would be needed. But she had to deal with more than just her back pain while she built a business empire. How the microvasectomy works. By 2001, Joanna's back pain that she had been putting off since high school had finally hit a breaking point. It wasn't just a dull pain that she could ignore. The damage to her spine had gotten so bad that her body started to send out clear emergency messages that she could not ignore. She started to have a problem called sciatica. This is what happens when a damaged disc in the lower back presses against the sciatic nerve, which is the body's biggest nerve. For Joanna, this meant a sharp pain that went from her lower back down her leg to her hip and then back up again. Along with the pain, there was a scary numbness. If you squeeze a nerve for too long, it stops sending the right messages to your brain. This can make your leg feel heavy or asleep. Over time, she started to lose her ability to move around. It got very hard to do simple things like stand at a sink or bend over to pick something up. She could no longer handle this on her own, so surgery was the only way for her to get her life back. Microvasectomy is the name of the surgery she had. To understand this surgery, you need to know how the spine is put together. These are the bones that make up your spine. In between those bones are soft discs that take the shock. The soft stuff inside a disc can bulge out when it gets hurt. A protrusion is the word for this. For a microasectomy, the surgeon cuts the back in a small way. They use a special lens to get a good look at the area and then carefully cut off the tiny piece of the disc that is pressing on the nerve. When that piece of material is taken away, the pressure on the nerve is relieved. This stops the pain and stiffness. Once the surgery was over, Joanna had to focus on getting better slowly. She was going through a tough time in her life, years before she became a known designer. To keep her neck straight, she had to build up the strength in her back and core muscles. The surgery seemed to go well for a while. She had more freedom to move around and began to build what would become the Magnolia Empire. But even though the surgery went well, the pain never really went away. In the early, busy years of running her business, she started to feel the pain coming back. There were little signs that her back was still open. As she worked hard to keep her back strong, a new task came up that would put even more stress on her body. 2022 Music Health Emergency. There was a big medical emergency for Joanna Gaines in late 2022. It could not have happened at a worse time. For the Gaines family, December is usually the busiest month because of the holiday rush at all of their Magnolia businesses, like the shops and the restaurant. Joanna is a mother of 5 kids and works full-time. She wanted to make the holidays special for her kids. But the old hurt from when she was cheerleading came back with a vengeance. So much sharp pain kept coming back that she knew she could no longer deal with it. She had to make a decision by December about whether to have another emergency back surgery or finish her holiday to-do list. The second surgery was a microasectomy, which is the same type of surgery she had in 2001. This time, though, the medical situation was a lot more dangerous. They have to deal with something called scar tissue when they operate on the same part of the back twice. Scar tissue is the tough, thick skin that forms inside the body after surgery. When the surgery was done in 2022, the doctor had to carefully work through this old scar tissue to get to the spine. This is hard to do because scar tissue can stick to the delicate spinal nerves, making it tougher for the surgeon to tell the difference between a broken disc and a healthy nerve. This raised the risk of the surgery and made the healing process much tougher than it was 20 years ago. This battle wasn't hidden from Joanna. She made a surprising choice. She shared a picture of herself giving the camera a peace sign while lying in bed in the hospital. She was wearing sunglasses and a hospital gown. This was very different from the perfect picture people saw of her on her music TV shows. She was seen by her fans as someone who could fix any house and deal with any problem with ease. She showed her fans that she was a weak patient who felt pain like everyone else by posting this hospital picture. She was telling her fans that it's okay to take it easy and get help when your health is in danger. But as she lay in the hospital bed getting better, she thought about a time when her health and the health of her baby were the talk of the country. Controversy over ultrasounds. Everyone was shocked when Chip and Joanna Gaines told everyone in 2018 that they were going to have their 5th child. Their friends were shocked by this news because their youngest child was already 8 years old. Since the couple was so busy with their TV show and businesses, most people thought they were done having children. Millions of fans all over the world were thrilled and happy when they told their followers that they were going to have another boy, which they decided to name Crew. Things quickly changed, though, when Joanna shared a picture of her baby's ultrasound. Millions of people look at every part of a picture on social media these days. Some fans, like those who worked in medicine, started to point out something in the picture that worried them. They saw what looked like too much fluid around the baby. This observation sparked a huge discussion online, and people quickly started to think that the baby might be very sick, which turned into a social media firestorm. People were worried about a certain disease known as hydrops fetalis. It's a very bad sign for the baby's health if fluid builds up in 2 or more places inside the body that shouldn't have it, like around the heart, in the lungs, or under the skin. The risks to health from this disease are very high.